What can one of the most competitive markets on the planet tell us about retargeting? Hello and welcome to Growth Masterminds, the podcast for growth marketers. My name is John Koetsier. Retargeting is critical for many companies' growth. Some of your most profitable campaigns might be retargeting campaigns. But what's most effective? What's going to make you the most money and get you the best users who are retained and engaged? Today, we're chatting with an expert. He's a senior manager for growth for Ixigo. Ixigo is one of the leading travel and booking platforms in India, which is, as we know, a crazy competitive market, super busy, obviously one of the two largest on the planet. Before that, he was a growth manager at Find in the retail space. His name is Subhadeep Chakraborty. Welcome, Subhadeep. How are you?
I'm doing good, and it's a pleasure to be on your podcast.
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to have you. Tell me about Ixigo.
So, Ixigo is the India's leading online OTA, which helps customers to book flights, buses, hotels, and trains on our platform. And we serve almost 100 million MAU.
Insane. I mean, insane. Absolutely insane. Looking forward to hearing what you have to say about retargeting and where you use it and what you do with it. Maybe big general question to start. Where do you use retargeting?
So, we mainly focus on delivering the maximum customer value. So, what we focus on is that our customers are able to find the different products that we have launched on our platform. They're able to find that efficiently and at the right time and right place whenever they need it. So, that's our primary objective. And along with that comes the post sale service, right? So whenever customers are facing any kind of challenges post booking, so it's our uh, mandate to serve the customer in the best way possible. So that's been our DNA. We primarily, try to retarget users when they are dropping off from the funnel. Let's say they're trying to do a train booking. So they have done train search, but let's say that they couldn't find the right kind of dates to book from. So then we would retarget them with an alternate suggestion to book on certain other days, right? Or let's say that they're searching for a flight and the flight fares are quite high. So we would then retarget those users whenever, like with a separate coupon code, or whenever the flight fares are lesser. So we would try to retarget them at a right moment.
That's super interesting because there's a couple different pieces of data to keep in mind for something like that, right? One is, when do you retarget? Do you do it instantly? Do you do it, within 24 hours, or do you do it later? That's one thing. The other thing is, what was somebody trying to do? And do I have a better option for them right now? So you talked about flights and maybe they're expensive. Well, maybe that the flights in 2 days are 20% cheaper or something like that. And so then you send that. Do you take both those different sets and maybe other sets of data into account when you're retargeting?
So the first way to solve this problem is identifying the right kind of customer, right? So whenever someone is, let's say, dropping off from the flight search funnel, we are trying to identify that when they're dropping off. And then after identifying that customer, we have our own, algorithms at our backend to basically recommend that on which day and for which airline maybe the flight fares are lower, and that would best way suit the customer. So after identifying that customer, we would combine that data with the advanced algorithm that we have at our backend, and then we would send the final communication to our user that maybe you can book the flight 2 days later when the flight fares are more towards your expected price.
Gotcha. Interesting. And when you're sending that message, you have multiple options, right? You can send, if they have your app, you can send an in-app message. You can send a push notification in some cases, but you're
Yeah.
probably also sending audiences out to your ad partners and then targeting them when they're in some other app or when they're on some other website. How do you make that determination?
Yeah. So as you rightly said, that there are multiple ways of or multiple channels to reach out to the customer. So first obvious way would be to send out an email where there's a lot of space to basically, list out all the flight fares, and there's a lot of space to add the content. So we would send out an email to the user And then also there are lots of other channels in case the email doesn't get delivered. So we would also try to send out a push notification or a WhatsApp to the same customer. And
Mhm.
along with that, if all these channels don't deliver, then we also have the retargeting ads, which are sort of excluding the last few days searches just to allow the organic, the CRM channels to work on the customer. So that's how we then reach out using the retargeting ads.
Super, super interesting. There's almost like a waterfall then of approaches that you take from,
Hmm.
and what's really kind of neat actually is that the first few are quote unquote free, right? They're channels that don't cost you anything versus the ad channel obviously does cost you something. What do you find is most effective? Is an immediate um, messaging strategy to somebody who drops off? Is that the most effective? Is it most effective a couple hours later? Is it 24 hours later? Or is there no pattern?
No, so it's never an immediate, bombarding the user. We always go back to our data that using the funnels, that what is the ideal time, the median time the customer takes to basically complete that action. Let's say that someone who is doing a flight search may take around 3 hours to do the flight booking. So we would allow around 3 hours delay so that the customer organically converts. And even if after, let's say, 3.5 hours, they don't convert, then we would design the automations to send out communications to the customer.
Cool. Is the behavior different for flights, let's say, which are probably costly versus maybe train journeys?
Yes, true. So as the ATV, the average transaction value, keeps on increasing, the window to convert the user, that also keeps on increasing, right? Because the customer researches a lot and
Mhm.
compares the prices across different platforms. So as you rightly said, that for flight, maybe the attribution, the conversion window might be more
Mhm.
compared to trains. So we would design our automations accordingly, again, going back and looking at the data, that how much longer the customers usually take. And then
Mhm.
we would also divide these user funnels into different cohorts. Like, let's say that for domestic flights, how much longer does the customer take compared to maybe an international flight?
Right.
And for trains, maybe how much long, maybe for a AC train ticket, or a general train ticket, or maybe a Tatkal ticket, which is more of a instant, immediate kind of a train booking service.
Mhm.
So in case of a Tatkal, maybe we won't put a delay so much. We would try to immediately send communication to the user that maybe you should book the ticket now, or it's going to be over.
Super interesting. So your retargeting strategy is specific to the product and the value, and the buying journey, whether the buying journey is long or short. What's the most critical piece of the retargeting message? Is it a price or offer focus thing? Is it a brand thing? Is it a timing thing? Or is it personal to individual users?
No. So the first message is never about the offer, because we don't believe that, offering just prices and offers to our customers are going to help them. It's
Mhm.
about personalizing the message for the user and the timing, as you said. So first, we would try to add the kind of attributes that the customer has been looking for. Let's say that the customer was searching for a flight from a certain A to B route, right, from
Mhm.
A city to B. So we would definitely add that to our copy, and we would also personalize even more. Like, let's say that the flight fare was certain amount, and it has dropped to a certain value. So we would
Mhm.
also mention that there has been 20% dip in the flight fare from A to B route for this date. So maybe you would want to book that. And
Mhm.
after sending the communication, we would also send a dynamic deep link
Mhm.
so as to land the user back to the page from he or she has dropped, so that they can very easily continue with the journey and complete the process. because it
Cool.
never makes sense to land the user back on the homepage.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
You must use a variety of tech for this. I don't know if you've built it in-house or if you're using platforms for it or something like that, but obviously you're doing some messaging in your app. You're doing some WhatsApp type messaging. You're emailing, and you're exporting audiences to ad networks. What's the tech stack look like?
Yeah, so we are using CRM platform, CleverTap, to send out our
Know it?
communications.
Good. Yep.
Yeah. So we are using the platform to send out all our communication and targeting and identifying the customer, basically identifying the context. And we are also using the CleverTap API just as to send the communications from our backend as well,
Hmm.
because all the communications can't be crafted on the platform itself. So there are some, as I mentioned, that there are some algo-driven data points that need to be added in the communication. So for
And
that,
CleverTap is pretty smart about that stuff, right? I mean, it has some AI built in there that knows, it starts to learn users, assigns them to different audiences and groups and segments and stuff like that, and has pretty personalized journeys for them, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, that's true. It helps, and there are lots of powerful analytics also that
Hmm.
helps us marketers like us to identify the different cohorts and basically research more about the user behavior.
Cool. How important would you say retargeting is to your marketing at Ixigo? I mean, is it absolutely critical? Is it a nice to have? Does it add 20 to 30% onto your business?
Yeah, so retargeting is pretty important for us, and the method of looking at the problem that changes a bit when it comes to us and when we are dealing with such a large user base,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't use paid channels too much in terms of retargeting because we are already dealing with such a large user base.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we rely on the CRM channels more to reach out to our customers, right? So, like you might be already aware that, right, that around 30% of the users come back on the next day after their
Nice.
initial app launch, right? So
Nice.
it becomes even critical to bring back the users because they might have been different reasons why they have dropped off from the app. It's not about always that the customer couldn't find value in the platform, but it might be different external factors, right? So it's our job to bring back the right set of users back to the platform so that they can find the complete the expected action. And so for that, we use the different CRM channels and use the analytics to identify those set of users.
What I absolutely love about that, obviously, there's a lot of retargeting that is paid that you send out in audiences to ad partners, ad network partners, and they can capture somebody wherever they might be. But the beauty of having all those own channels is not only that you're not paying for them, but you have a multi-channel customer. You don't have a single point of access to them, which is in-app and in-app messages and maybe push notifications. You have multiple ways of meeting them. You mentioned email, you mentioned WhatsApp. That's a much stronger connection with a customer than if they just downloaded the app and maybe created an account there.
That's true. Because whenever we are reaching out to the customers using the different paid channels, I believe that the customer is already out of reach and they are sort of lying in the social media or the open internet space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we
Mm-hmm.
already had that customer. They had already downloaded our app, and we already had them have them and had a chance to basically show what we can do for them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
more important that we reach out to them using the existing CRM channels where we
Mm-hmm.
can personalize a lot more. And then as a end strategy, we can reach out to them using the paid ads.
Tell me about an interesting retargeting experience you had recently.
Yeah. So, I mean, there was one experiment that we had done to basically increase the user retention over our
Mm-hmm.
platform for train booking. So we had started this automation where we would uh, credit some Ixi money, which is our in-house wallet currency. We would credit some Ixi money to the user if they have done completed certain train booking milestones for 3 months continuous, right? Because we have seen that the retention curve usually increases after the 3 months. So that's what we had done.
Nice. Very nice. I'm glad that we could connect. I know it's taken a while to do that. I apologize for that. Glad
No
that you could
problem.
take some time out of your morning and I could take some time out of my evening. Usually when I'm talking to people, I'm in talking to people who might be in Europe or might be in Asia or whatever, and it's my morning and they're at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Now I'm on that end, so I'm feeling what it's like. Thank you for taking this time. I really appreciate it.
I totally understand. In fact, it gave me some time to research about the content as well. I went through your YouTube channel and watched all the mind blowing content. So
Cool.
that gave me some time.
Super happy to hear it. Awesome. Got to have you back sometime.
Yeah, sure, that works.